concerning inclusiveness or marginalization. That is, it seeks to involve young citizens in the development of a local case as non-professional scientists who co-create the case along with professional research and participate in all the phases of the research processes. Data collection, analysis, and dissemination, and to develop the discussion with the other citizen people in different local community. And the co-planning and co-implementation to the activity within the case, and some aspect, theoretical and practical aspect of this project. Over time, citizen science has many concentrated in United States and Western and North Europe. We don't have a lot experience in Italy about this, and very few in Europe. And I believe it's a very interesting perspective to involve the citizen in our work and in participatory processes. Today I invite some part of the member of this project, and we have with us Egle. I don't know if they connected. I don't know, is here. And we would like to show some aspect of this citizen science and some process to develop in different situations, and some instrument used to help this dissemination involve the young people. Okay, sorry. Okay, we can start with my presentation, where our experience in local community in Naples, and if other colleagues connected with us have after me the presentation. Okay, we have Ingar and Merton following us, and after connect and explain our perspective. Okay, our groups, scientific group, is composed from me, Flora Gatti, and other citizen science young people stay here in the with us. And after tomorrow, I have the presentation, interactive presentation about their work. I explained to you why this citizen science is important. It's a very specific situation to involve the people, and in this way I need to explain the topic we are working in Naples. In Italian case studies aims at fostering social inclusion processes in Naples urban community by providing local immigrant citizens with further opportunities for socialization, discussion, and exchange of belief and why points. Indeed, in Naples, foreign residents are mainly located in certain specific area of the city, in specific neighbors, with processes of self-ghettization, because sometimes we have a lot of people, different presence, ethnic groups, but sometimes this group is in a special place on the city and stay together, is in a good process for identity and self, for yourself, for your self mutual support, but we try, it's very complicated to dialogue, to create a dialogue with the other citizen, Italian or for the other ethnic groups. This is not very easy to increase some interaction between different people in different perspectives, different culture. Sometimes people say that I stay very well here, but I don't have needs to to call, to ask other people, connect other people. I think is in a difficulty to, because some people to concentrate about the material, bureaucratic means. And in this way, more concentration is for the activity to work, activity to about the skill of families, but and don't have a lot of time to connect and so to create the space for socialization for the other people. And the time is very concentrated in specific skills, in specific time. Don't create other opportunity to meet other people and citizen people. Sometimes this mediation it's possible try by other groups, association group, or when the people involved in specific learning aspect, for example, for the language. And this is the small vision of the situation in our community. And in this project, we have the group, young group, to develop in a specific competence know about this situation, the social inclusion, and to have a training to develop some skills about the research, the communication with the people. Usually is the citizen, in our case, is a young citizen between 16 and 13 age. They is involved in a participatory process aimed at promoting more aware styles of togetherness. Such path developed through a series of meetings during which the participation were engaged in different activities to make them know each other and their neighbor better. Different methodology we use with them, for example, word cafe, photo voice, interview. We use it because we use these tools because I think it's important for develop the inclusion, dialogue, and I think it's more easy for the citizen scientists to learn to use these tools and use more easy with other citizens. Another part, this the aspect of the project we develop a lot of time to create this group for the training about this about the reflection about the too deep this topic about inclusion, and develop some skill about some tools. Another part of this project with the citizen scientists to develop the meeting with the population, with the citizen, and we in the association or social group involved in have a mission to involve in inclusion, social inclusion, for example, and work with the migrant. In this case, we developed the living lab. We saw yesterday in the video. I show this a part of our work, and is in a space very interesting because work together with citizens, young people, citizen scientists, and some stakeholder of the association and other group of important group of the work in this with this topic. We in the first step, I think is very important. Is a project. It reflects together about the social inclusion means, because if an aim of our project, but for in my opinion, and we discuss a lot about this means, because I think it's very important for us the construction this aspect, because sometimes if we speak the social inclusion to think the people is no have the resource to include. We think the group, minority group, not the same group, speak with us. I think is a very intrinsic means, is very important to explain and to change vision about this. A lot of work we conducted, we discussed about this social inclusion and change the vision, because we to create the space discussant together to develop in a comparison, in a dialogue with other, and include the different vision, create some in a group to work together to develop some space to dialogue and to construction the new vision to stay in the local community together. We promoted different opportunity in the sharing and socializing between local citizens and migrant citizens in the local area. These are some photo I saw you, because I explain very more clearly than I say you about our work. You can see here the work cafe about social inclusion with different people, and collect we participate very different person for the ethnic, professional, for the cultural, and different power to change the situation in the local community. We connect and have these results about this discussion, and use this some aspect about this to collect this social inclusion. In this way, I think is important this experience, because to put together the possibility to change the vision and the action to develop in the local community. Because after this meeting, a lot meeting, no one, of course, we have the possibility to build together a new action in specific neighbors in Naples, and to create the way to do some action, some activity together. Don't think to create a new activity to develop social inclusion in unique vision, the unique group, but it's in a social inclusion for together and share the aim, the aspect, and the possibility to do and participation for this process, to create this interrelation. And is a way which is important for to create transformation, to define some implied rule to develop this aspect. And here we have a different moment to develop this aspect. Is no hierarchic time to develop this aspect, but is a parallel work, because we have the training for the citizen science scientists, living lab, connected with different associations in the local community, and we have the moment connected to the different vision in this space. We work together, and after we develop the common project stemming from the proposal of participation, Migrant Italian Citizen Association, and to create now in this moment the vocabulary of inclusion. This project, this aspect is no, this step is no conclusion, but we have a good time now to work together with the people involved in this process. These are our experience, and tomorrow the citizens are young to present their experience in other session. I think it's important to involve them to explain our activity, and it's important to reflect together about the skills and the experience did in this time. The time is very long, 1 year stay together. Okay, I finish. Sorry for if I don't have so clear for my English, but I hope you can reflect together about this process, the participatory process.
So hello, everyone. I'm very happy to join this conference. And at the same time, I'm very sad that I cannot participate in person. So that's the biggest sadness that they have currently, not to be with you together in Naples and enjoy, I do hope, beautiful weather. Nevertheless, I will step in to this conference and just briefly present our case. And I will speak today about citizen science as some form of volunteering, and what might be a connection between citizen science, involvement in citizen science, and volunteering. May I share the screen? I'm not sure how to do this, but okay, I'll try to share my screen. Could you please say if you
okay,
see
yes,
my screen?
We can see.
Is it in presentes mode?
Yeah, yes, in present
Okay,
mode.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
So just briefly about myself, I'm Eglė Butkevičienė. I'm from Lithuania, from Kaunas University of Technology, and I'm one of the partners of a consortium which is implementing the UCount project, a big international project with 9 cases to analyze and understand what is the role of citizen science and what is the role of citizen science for social inclusion of young people. So today I will briefly speak about volunteering for citizen science projects. Why do people dedicate time for scientific activities? Because we have a lot of interesting things in life to do, right? Why we should be engaged in citizen science? So first of all, just several sentences about volunteering, because volunteering is usually understood as a complex phenomena that has multidimensional nature. That is why there is so different ways to engage in volunteering. For example, as Hastings differentiates the forms of volunteering. We might speak about different, at least 3 different paradigms of volunteering. One of the paradigms is dominant paradigm, and here the volunteering, the essence of volunteering is mainly focused on the traditional forms of volunteering, going to charities, doing some social work. However, there are other paradigms of volunteering, such as the civil society paradigm. The civil society paradigm is mostly focusing on the activities that help citizens to solve some problems, to be engaged in some interest groups, and so on. And finally, we can speak about volunteering as a serious leisure paradigm. Then the people are engaged in volunteering because they like to dedicate time for volunteering, and they understand this as a leisure time, but also as a serious leisure time. So we can, by definition, we can say that any activity in which time is given freely to benefit another person, group, or organization might be described as volunteering. So giving time for doing research, doing some scientific activities for some, or cooperating with some research group or university might be also considered as a form of volunteering. Of course, in most cases, volunteering is described as activity that does not involve remuneration. So the absence of financial rewards leads volunteers to be motivated by other stimulus, by other factors. And usually in the literature, you can find, speaking about motivation, you can find two different types of motivators. One is rational choice motives, that we want to kind of learn something new, or spend our time meaningfully, and also altruism. Then we feel that we need to contribute to the good of society. Many research actually find that especially in US, emphasize that people with higher social and economic status tend to be volunteers more than those with lower social and economic status. This implies at some point that volunteers have already financial resources for living from elsewhere, and they do not need remuneration from voluntary activities. So speaking about the citizen science and speaking about the role of the university, that is also changed in a contemporary society, because it's not just traditionally focused on education as research, but also more and more universities are speaking about the social mission, third mission, which is social change, by cooperating with communities, with citizens. Also universities contribute to the practical problem solving. And for example, if we use the paradigm of research, responsible research and innovation. So beside the ethics, gender equality, open access or open science, and science education, we have a strong emphasis of societal engagement. So these two factors, I would say, lead us to kind of interpret citizen science as a form also of volunteering, where people, citizens, dedicate time for contributing to the research activities. So citizen science might be described as all scientific activities in which non-professional scientists volunteer to participate in data collection, in data analysis, and of course, dissemination of scientific projects. And for example, if we look at the United Nations Environmental Program, so the emphasis is also that citizen science entails the engagement of volunteers in science and research. So this is a connection that we can say that citizen science and citizen scientists, then they do not have any rewards, like financial rewards, is a volunteering for scientific activities. Of course, citizen science encompasses partnerships between professional scientists and members of public in authentic scientific research, and actually citizen science leads to the possibilities of collective knowledge production in multiple areas. The participation of public in research might be very different, right? Just from reading some news and commenting and so on, or with the highest engagement when we speak about extreme citizen science, when people are participating not just in collecting data, but also participating in a problem definition, in dissemination of scientific activities, and even sometimes are part of scientific publications. So in this aspect, the research question of this presentation was, why do people decide to give their time to contribute to research activities? Why do they choose citizen science for volunteering their time instead of other forms of volunteering? And here, this presentation is a part of YouCount project that I think Fortuna has already introduced. So in this respect, in this presentation, I want to focus on citizen science as an innovative form to create inclusive society. So one of the objectives when we speak about the YouCount project was to conceptualize citizen science and to do literature analysis on what is the potential of citizen science for social inclusion, for social connectedness of communities, for social belonging, feeling social belonging. So in this respect, conceptual framework is how to apply citizen science in enhancing social inclusion. For that, and together with another project to strengthen this research, we did qualitative interviewing and of different stakeholders. How do they understand and these social inclusion things, and how do they understand why people volunteer for citizen science? So there was interviews with different stakeholder groups, in total 30 interviews with scientists, citizen scientists, policymakers, and people from NGOs who also are contributing at some point to citizen science. And the major questions we were asking them that are relevant for this presentation. So why do people decide to give their time to contribute to research activities? And also, why do they choose citizen science for volunteering? So about results. Why do people decide to give their time to contribute to research activities? So what we found from the interviews that some of the reasons or motives were really rational choice driven, like to learn something new things, to kind of find out some interesting things for their own work and so on. So that was a kind of what we can say rational choice motives. Also, there was a quite considerable portion of teachers who engaged their school children into citizen science, because in that case they asked them to use the apps and to take pictures and contribute for different projects such as iNaturalist and so on. But in this respect, I would say this is for these school children, it is a kind of coercive volunteering, because they do not have too much choice to decide whether they want or don't want to participate in citizen science activities, because it's a part of the school activity. So I would call it coercive volunteering in citizen science, which also might happen, as we saw from interviews. And also there was I would say also rational choice motive to be part of scientific community. People want to be to contribute with their activities to progress the science itself. On the other hand, we can speak also about normative, I would say, normative reasons and normative motives. And these motives were related to curiosity. I would call them as a group curiosity-driven reasons. Then people just want to try some new things. They enjoy, they more like have this emotional side, emphasis on emotional side of citizen science, and all these activities, that it is a nice feeling to contribute to the scientific activities, to collect data, and it's a kind of enjoyable side of citizen science. And they also emphasize that it is a mean of to spend leisure time in meaningful way, which leads us to the conceptual paradigm of volunteering as a serious leisure time activity. So from the interviews, I can say that it is a kind of very good illustration what we found to support this citizen science as volunteering in the light of paradigm of serious leisure activity. And as I already said, like, why to choose citizen science for volunteering? Maybe we can do another things, or maybe we can be engaged in traditional forms of volunteering. So also, like, applying the kind of dual approach of the reasons why. We can speak about from the interviews we saw, and we can speak about intrinsic motivation and extrinsic motivation. So first of all, we can say that it was like why they joined these projects, right? So one was that it was under invitation, so someone else invited them, so it was a kind of, you know, some kind of extrinsic motivation to participate in citizen science activities, and also applicability of knowledge in the future. So these were the main reasons why we chosen citizen science rather than other forms of volunteering. On the other hand, also they emphasized meaningfulness of activities, satisfaction with the opportunity to contribute to science. So that would lead us to classify these reasons as an intrinsic motivation to be part of citizen science. So I just wrap up my presentation by saying that actually thinking about why do people dedicate time for scientific activities, why they are involved in citizen science, we cannot provide just one clear answer, that because the motivation is rational driven, but also normative driven, and there is a complex mix of motivators, including intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. Why do people join citizen science projects? Thank you.
Thank you, because you explained the particular aspect of this project about the involved people in different way for the participation process, for the change some aspect of our country, our community, and to explain very aspect to significant aspect motivation to involve where about regard our work to involve the people, because it's very hard for us in different way in different situation, and a hard very we have dedicated a lot of time to involve the people, non-professional people in this process. And I think your contribution is very significant to explain the part of our work. In this way, we work a lot about this, motivate the young people to in this project. Okay, if you agree, I following the presentation of the Martin, and if the people have the question for us, we wait for the finished presentation. Okay, Merton, please, you can start. Merton, I hope to explain. Hobart, it's correct. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm unmuted now. Thank you for hosting us here in Naples in this way. I'm going to present one of the case studies as part of the UConn project. And just in advance, I would like to connect to the presentation by Egle in a way that the idea how we developed this case study in Hungary comes pretty much from the recognition that young people living in extremely poor neighborhoods in marginality are very difficult to involve or helping them to take part in any sort of a scientific activity or in research activity. 10 years ago, we were trying to expand what is called by Arjuna Pandurai the right to research and find the tools, methodology for inviting students who dropped out from the school into researching their own life. So the presentation, so the case, what I would like to show you today, I'm not sure if you, is it
No,
already
we see.
shared?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's great.
Mhm.
Okay, so the case, what I would like to introduce you started about 6 years ago in a tiny rural settlement in southern Hungary as a community development process using artistic tools, and we try to develop it as an arts-based participatory action research, which doesn't expect dropping out students, young people with low literacy rate and the limited cultural level of cultural capital to take part in official research in any way, but just to help them to develop action plans based on their understanding of their own environments. So this case is actually managed by the Environmental Social Science Research Group and is helped by the Media Studies Department of the ELTE University. And what I'm going to present here is, of course, a result of a collaboration with okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
No, don't worry. There's less date for people.
Okay, so this is, of course, a result of a strong collaboration with Gina Somogyi, who is living in this village and responsible for the community development process, and Shara Haragonich, who is a movie director, a documentary film director, and also MA students from the Media Studies Department. So just to present the setting where this fieldwork is actually happening. This is in the southern part of Hungary, 200 kilometers southward from who are between 14 and 34 years old, all Roma girls and boys, mostly girls. Some of them, boys are just coming in and dropping out often. And also their families are invited in this process. I will, if I have some time, I would talk a little bit about how to avoid cutting across intergenerational ties in such a small community when we try to develop a research project. So this neighborhood is quite typical in terms of how rural ghettos are described in Hungarian rural sociology, that it is marked by a multidimensional social exclusion, in which exclusion from the labor market, from the housing market, and also from schools are combined, and especially because of the multiplication of these discriminations, also ethnic discriminations become even more significant as social exclusion and poverty becomes stigmatized, becomes racialized, not only as a stigma, but also effectively Roma people, the poverty of Roma people becomes reproduced. In this village, the county, which is called Baranya County, also has some specificities, consequence full specificities, that tiny, extremely small scale settlements are typical. This is why sociogeographic isolation, because of the limited and expensive access to public transport, is also significant. Public services are just evaporating, have been evaporating for the last 2 decades. So today there is no post-kindergarten or a local grocery store in the village. And also because of the lack of shared social spaces, conflicts among households cannot be resolved. The routine of encountering with the neighbors is getting rare and rare. So why we have been invited 6 years ago was an invitation from the local government, from the local mayor, who said that young people show some sort of fatigue, and let's provide some programs for them to help them to become more active. So what we set up was a series of participatory art workshops, and I would just like to show how this arts-based participatory action research can be turned into a citizen science-based data collection process. So what we set up was a process of learning and self-articulation programs, and each artistic workshop had the intention to develop some sort of collaborative product, artistic piece, which can be circulated, presented first in the locality, in the village, and then invite wider and wider circles of audiences in order to use this piece of art to discuss the stories behind that. So we also presented films, theatrical plays to the neighboring towns and then to the capital. These are just a assortment of our posters of these artistic products. These have a relative success in recognition and public support, but also had unintended consequences in the locality. I would just show you 3 types of these consequences. So first, we use participatory photography workshops with a professional photographer that helped young people to in developing, raising their self-esteem, and also developing an understanding of their life course and find the individual niches through which they can gain some sort of success. What was an unintended consequences of this activity is that many of the participating young people moved out from the village as soon as they figured out how to pursue their goals, and practically 10 out of the 15 participating youngsters move out from the village. We also had a community film project, which was to present a ritual in which young people work as cheerleaders in community activities, and show how parents can be invited out from the houses into the street and participate in new newly invented community activities or community rituals. Many sorts of local celebrations and holidays have been invented. An unintended consequence of this activity was that expectations towards local programs were raised, became so high that many local citizens always expect professional artists to come if for such local community activities. And the third type of workshops try to develop collective imagination about the future of the village. We used mural paintings, collaborative mural paintings, and also sociodrama. So what you see here is the activity of painting one of the local buildings, on the wall of which participants finally painted their individual and shared dreams, how they imagine the future of the village. An unintended but positive consequence of this activity was that adults in the village also wanted to rethink what sort of material, not only artistic and symbolic, but a material project, a business can be developed which uses local resources, and this was actually happening in the fourth year after we started the process. So as part of the YouCount project, what we could actually launch was first a permacultural garden. So this was a sustainable agricultural activity through which we invited agricultural engineers specialized in this permacultural type of vegetable gardening to help the adults as well as young people to figure out what type of sustainable business can be set up in the village. We launched this 2 years ago, and it was actually useful using the living lab that Fortuna and Eglen was talking about, to develop a network to invite the experts of this already existing network into the village and help local parents to get involved into this network of experts, and also generate new weak social ties in order to have sales augmenting and bring new knowledge into their agricultural activity. The other part of the YouCount social innovation project was entitled Future Picks. This is also the participatory workshop with kids, which on the one hand was intended to invite young people into understanding how agriculture can work in their local neighborhood according to their parents, but also young researchers could started to help in documenting the social innovation process. The result of this, a piece of video art or a community film, can work as a promotion material for the vegetables got from this garden. So finally, what I would like to show you is that what sort of data collection about this social innovation process can be developed. So this is an experiment in methodology, how to use artistic activities, to develop hard social scientific data. So first, we had a series of participatory video workshops thematically focusing on what the young researchers are interested from the portfolio offered by the consortia of UCount. And we developed small pieces of videos, a series, actually a huge number of videos about community belonging, social inclusion, social innovation, and gender relations is just to come. These follow a pre-designed poetic structure. So this is something like a questionnaire that gives strong visual codes, and participants are to fill it out with their own content. In this very short piece, what I would like to show you, we offer kids to make use of their very basic notions developed previously about their own community feelings about community belonging. And two participants have to contrast their own feeling by using a visual and natural division in the screen, and find some music-based emotional frame for the contrast of their emotions. So I try to show you this very short piece of video, and maybe it will become more understandable. I'm not sure if you could hear the voice as well. This is the very basic way how these boys relate to school and to school dropout, is about how teachers recognize them or rebuff them, and this connection is framed by them through this Simon and Garfunkel song. So we have a huge number of this type of video data, and in discussion circles, we can reflect on what are the basic notions, how do how these representations common, and what are the differences about them. These footages are used as poetic ties. These lyric videos are only used at the end as poetic ties for the video interviews that are going to be managed by the young researchers with their relatives, with their parents, who are actually doing the permacultural garden, the innovation. So finally, what we hope to get is a participatory representation of a social innovation process that try to capture the narratives of the parents, which are combined with the lyric interpretation of the very social scientific notions behind this social innovation process. Well, I hope you could follow this work in a way, and I'm very pleased. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Merton. You explained very well sorry. Okay, okay. You explain very well your case and the aspect of to involve the citizen and the community, and use different instruments, tools in your local community. And I think it's a good experience to to motivate the people to change the Owens community, local community. I give the words to Inga. Yes, Inga, you say you are here.
Yes, hello.
Okay, and after we can, if I have we have the question answer for it. We have you can present in 50 minutes or less because we have okay. You try. Okay.
Thank
Okay.
you, Fortuna, and hello to everyone. I'm at the moment in Oslo. I wish I was in Naples with you. That was the plan, but that didn't work out. So I'm happy that I still can present from the UCount project. I will now try to share my screen and we'll see how that goes. Can you now? I will just put it in presenter mode probably. Just a moment.
We see.
Yeah, but I try to put it like this. Now you see the whole picture, yeah?
No, it's okay.
Yeah,
But
it's okay.
is in a form of the presentation for you. If you okay.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I will try to follow up and make some connections to the former presentations. This is from the same project, the UCount project, and I will focus especially on one of the methods or tools that we are using in this project, and that is an application for mobile phones, an app which we have created in the project together with a professional company making these kind of apps. And the app is soon ready, so I will not talk about the data collection or this part of the process, but how we made the app together with youths, that we co-created the app together with the young citizen scientists. Just a very few words about the overall project. There are 9 countries included in the UCount project, and they all have chosen one community where they work especially with young people. And this UCount app is kind of trying to gather all of these cases and countries, so they will all use the app. And therefore we have this very kind of long co-creative process to try to make an app that is good and working and relevant for all of these different cases. So the agenda, why use an app at all? What is the intentions? How did we do it? And what did we learn so far? And I will try to be quick, as I know the time is running out. I think it's important, first of all, to say that in citizen science, which have been mostly used by the natural sciences, there have been developed a lot of different kinds of apps. But this is maybe one of the first apps that is made more for trying to observe social phenomena. So that's kind of the new thing, and also that we do it together with youths. So why have an app? The goal is to develop inclusive and youth-friendly ICT tools for citizen science research. And I think the goal is twofold. It's methodological to develop new tools that are useful for data collection in projects, in research projects, and also more the substantial. Do we actually get new and better data by using these kind of tools? So how to do this in the social sciences and involving youths, and co-created also with the youths. And the main topic of the UCount projects is to kind of find out the key drivers of social inclusion, how the youths themselves see what are those drivers. And some of the good things about an app is that you get immediate data. You always bring, or the youths always bring their mobile phones with them in their daily life, and then they can kind of register or observe spots, we call them, in the app. And then we get kind of real-time data and in the context where they matters, because most research are like that you talk with someone or that you answer a survey or something like that, when you kind of reflect on it, not in the situation where it happens or where the social inclusion, for example, are going on, or exclusion are going on. So that's kind of the idea, that you will have it immediate and that it will bring us a sense of the daily life, social life of the youths. And we find not 4, as it says here, but 5 main topics. We ask in the app, where are you? So it's something about the place, the situation you are in. What do you do there? What kind of activity? And what opportunities do you see? And then we are talking about opportunities for social inclusion in different ways. And then who are you with, your social networks, because that's important for social inclusion, obviously. And also, how do you feel in this place? Different feelings of belonging, of participation, of connectedness to the local community. We try through this app to kind of measure the basic aspects of social inclusion. And the data collection gives us real-time data. And the potential contribution here is that it's data collection, of course, but it's also a possibility for interactive and communication between the youths who are participating, and also between the youths participating and the researchers, the kind of the professional researchers, so we can have a dialogue with them in the app. It's also a potential for such apps to be a kind of community resource where you can share information about what's going on in your community, good places, inclusive places for youths, and so on. And one of our participants says that the app is good in a way that you're getting something useful in return, not just give all the time as you usually do in participating processes, but you also get this kind of community resource or sharing in return. And then I will just remind that this app tool is, of course, just a part of several different methods, qualitative and quantitative methods that we use in this project. So we are cooperating with Spotron, which is a company based in Vienna who has made a lot of these kind of citizen science apps for different research projects in EU and elsewhere. So this is one of our partners, and then we have all these 9 countries with cases in 10 communities in Europe. So you can imagine it has been kind of a huge work to kind of coordinate and develop something that feels useful for all these different partners. So how did we do it? The design process was, we were involving researchers and youths in these countries. And we had in each country a core group of 10 to 12 young researchers in each community. And it was this core group that was directly involved in the designing of the app. And it has been a long design period. We started 1 year ago. We had a first prototype ready in March, and the final version of the app will soon be ready now in early October. And the decision to make a prototype was very much, I think, experiences from designing processes that starting all from scratch is kind of difficult, because then you have 9 partners with 10 youths in each, having different kind of wishes and needs. So we had a process first where they come up with their main needs and wishes. Then we made a prototype, and then the process has been more to, because then you have something to react on. You have something that you can respond to and say, we want it more like this or more like this. So the prototype has been very important for us to reach the final app. And we have been working very collectively in these workshops in different ways. We have had workshops with maps over your community. The youths have been involved in which questions should we ask, the wording to make it clear and easy language in the app. They have tested it individually in their daily life. We have tested it in groups. We have had this so-called walk-alongs, where we were walking together out in the community, and they were spotting, meaning that they registered spots in the app and answered questions. They have been giving feedback and coming with new suggestions. And we had also have digital webinars and digital meetings cross-case, because we had to coordinate this between all the countries. And it's also important in a citizen science project that the young people who are part of this, they also need to be trained as co-researchers. So we have had a lot of training sessions, and we also developed a house of training, we call it, kind of the most fundamental things that you need to learn so you can be a young researcher. And for the app, it was mainly the survey mindset and the observational gaze, we call them. This is kind of methodological titles, which was fitting for the aim of the app. And we also was introducing a toolbox for training. So we had this online site where we can share experiences with how to work with methods. And here also the app had its place, and we shared different ways of working with the app. Here are just some examples of the mapping and how you can use the app. For example, on the right side, you can see spots where you feel unsafe or not, or included or not. And yeah, this is just to show you, it's kind of very simple, because you're out in the street when you use it, so it doesn't have to be too complicated to use. Okay, and then I will sum up what we have learned so far in this process. I think a very important experience is that to work with youths for such a long time and to really get them to get involved in the project and say their meanings and really take part, it's very important with trust and building relations. So you need to have time and space for this. It's important to having fun together. We realize very early that very important that the young people have fun together. They get to know each other. We have some fun activities. Food is important in these workshops. And also the fact that this participation is for real, so that we also involve them in what kind of questions will we ask, kind of the whole research process. And also that they get some kind of compensation, either a salary or something for their CV, some education. So this is important aspects. Then some more concrete lessons from this process of designing the app. I told you about this starting point, making a prototype. That was important to kind of get the creative process going. Then it's also always so that there are some limitations also to co-creation. There's some technical limitations in the technology of the app. You may have some wishes of what you do, but it's not possible. It's some economical restrictions, and it's also, of course, a question of it may be contradictory wishes and needs. So this is also a very useful learning process for democratic processes. You have to give and take. All the youths cannot have their wishes. It's a lot of compromising. Then we had a bit of struggling with ethical guidelines and legislations both in EU and all in the individual countries. For example, when you do co-creative work, you cannot describe in too much detail what you will do, because the youths have to be in place and say how they want to do it before you can describe that very thoroughly. And that is something, a difficult thing, because you have to ask for approval early on in the process. And if you don't have that approval, you cannot kind of involve the youth. So that's a catch-22 problem often. Then you have the question of, in the app, should the youths be anonymous, or should they be able more to make a personalized profiles, because that's what they are used to in many other kind of social media and apps, that they have a picture and kind of make something that's special for them. But in this project, there was also this question of, because it's research, should it be anonymous or not? So this is a discussion that we have had all the way. And also the question of parental consent, because some of these youths are underage, and then they have to have parental consent to take part. And then, of course, maybe a more overarching question, is it some kind of digital divides when we introduce this kind of ICT tools into research? We have not concluded on that yet. We are still working on it, and the process is still going. But what we can clearly see is that even if maybe some youths may be excluded from this process, there are also a lot of youths really getting more inclusive or included, because it's fun to work with the app, and they kind of like this way of working. So it's not a very clear answer to that digital divide question, I think. Just mention finally a couple of challenges that we are working with. I mentioned that it's kind of difficult to coordinate so many partners and agree on what the app should be. We have done that now, but that's kind of something that you need to think about. And then also we would like to try to make some cross-case arenas for young researchers. That means it has to be digital, because they cannot travel from 9 countries in Europe. It's expensive and so on. But to make these online meeting places for youths is challenging because of language and also other kind of practicalities. So that's something we are still working on. And then in the end, I would like to make a bridge back to Egle and the motivation part, because we also see that youths now, they have a lot of apps and they are in different social media. So kind of why would they start using a new app for research? What is their motivation for doing this? And how can we motivate them? And we think so far that the social element, that they can have contact with each other in the app, and also introducing some gaming elements, some competitions, would make it kind of more similar to other apps they are used to, and also make them more motivated. So then I will just say thank you, and looking forward if you have any questions or to a good discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Okay, we are limited because now in this room start in a few minutes another session. But if you have some question, some answer, some reflection, no. Okay. I would like to thanks my colleagues to present in this session, and I thanks because I think our project is very complicated about different aspects, and to try to give us today the vision of this project, and we would like to speak about some important, significant aspect to involve the people, to involve in connect direction with the local community, because I think is very, we have the tools, we have different possibility to create space discussion, but I think as the work, hard work is involve the people in this process for a long time. For a long time for the project, for the long time to give some significant change in a specific community, include other citizen people. In this way, we to try with the colleagues, the Eagle, Merton, and Inger, to explain different aspects. This we work in this time and work again for the next years. Thanks for your attention, for stay here. And if you want to ask something, we can ask me or we can ask the colleagues. We have the contact in the program. Thanks a lot, and bye, everyone. See you in another meeting, our meeting. Okay, bye.